the greater need to have data incorporated into HR, or rather HR be supported by proper relevant data. An ideal workplace will be one which is very, very flexible, right? Attitude is the other thing that's very important, right? So for me, having the right attitude is more important than having the right skill set. So I think now even more than ever, HR is a lot more integrated with technology, right? So in the past, people used to refer to HR as something which was more conventional, but these days people are understanding the greater need to have data incorporated into HR, or rather HR be supported by proper relevant data. So I think the correlation is right now, more apparent than ever. In the past, I would say HR was probably more by the book, right? And now, given the evolving landscape on not just environmental but also employment landscapes, right? So there is a lot more of an integration. It's a bit more of a hybrid that's happening right now. So that's my view on HR and technology in present times. On the top of my head, an ideal workplace will be one which is very, very flexible, right? And I think employees, as we see more millennials, if you will, come into the workforce, it's very, very important to understand that we are able to give them what is it that they want, right? Like what sort of there's a hunger for them to build their careers, etc. So I think great work is something which is very important to me. So a flexible work environment, the kind of work has to be great and it has to appeal to the people who are actually working within the organization. So assuming that you and I are working together, we need to know the kind of impact that our work brings, onto the organization, right? And over and above all of this, what will envelop this rather prettily, in my opinion, is inclusion and diversity. You need to make sure that everyone's involved, everyone's included, and you have a workforce which is very diverse. So I think employee satisfaction is something which is, it is definitely something which the ambits of HR is built upon, right? However, what we need to look at is what really is employee satisfaction, right? Is your employee happy because of remuneration? Is your employee happy because of the kind of fun that they have at work? Are they happy because of the kind of managers that they have, So while employee satisfaction is the overarching wide principle, we probably, HR practitioners, need to take a step back and look at what is it that equates to employee satisfaction to them, right? So for me personally, those things that I said earlier, flexibility, inclusion and diversity, being able to perform under the ambit of great work, those are the things that would constitute employee satisfaction. And I think as I design cohesive workplaces, right, throughout my career, I've always looked at taking a step back and assessing, because it's not a one-size-fits-all situation, right? It's a bit more of understanding what your target demographic is and what is it that appeals to them, right? So if you're dealing with people who are in 40 years old and above, then their satisfaction is very different from a 20-year-old, right? So we need to be able to look at it instead of a one-track approach. You have to look at it in a very subjective manner. So while employee satisfaction will remain as at the core and center of HR matrices, I think the little bits and pieces that equate to employee satisfaction is what needs to be assessed at this point. Versatility. I think that's something that I'm quite passionate about. So a candidate that's versatile, a candidate that is looking at challenging him or herself on the daily, right? And one that's never going to shy away from an opportunity or a challenge, all the same. Yeah. So I think that's something that I look for in candidates. Well, I think versatility is one thing, but if I was going to look at it from a personality angle, then I think Attitude is the other thing that's very important, right? So for me, having the right attitude is more important than having the right skill set, because skills can be learnt or taught, but attitude, that's innate, right? So it comes with the person. So I think if you have the right attitude, and you're open to learning, open to doing better in your daily, in your day-to-day, right? In both your professional as well as your personal capacities, then you're on the good track.